New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, blunt.
The conduct really was shocking.
Impassioned.
The Trump administration is out to destroy this bipartisan tradition.
Known to many as a longtime champion of progressive ideals, battling President Trump and protecting women's rights.
We must reimagine a world where predators are exposed and held to account.
But to the women now accusing him of physical and emotional abuse, the Democratic heavyweight is now nothing more than a hypocrite. Four women come forward accusing him of having subjected them to non-consensual physical violence. Michelle Manning Barish and Tanya Silveratnam speaking on the record, alleging he repeatedly hit them, often after drinking, frequently in bed, and never with their consent. Manning Barish says Schneiderman grew violent one night after drinking, saying all of a sudden he just slapped me open-handed and with great force across the face, landing the blow directly onto my ear. She continues, he then used his body weight to hold me down, and he began to choke me. In every fiber, I felt I was being beaten by a man. Tanya Silveratnam also says that Schneiderman abused her. She's an author and film producer. They met at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. Silveratnam says that it was a fairy tale that became a nightmare. She says he would slap and choke her, often making sexual demands, calling her his brown slave. In her view, Schneiderman is a misogynist and a sexual sadist.
Thank you.
But to much of the public at the time, Schneiderman was a hero.
Tonight, we're going inside the scandal that has rocked Hollywood. Hollywood mega mogul Harvey Weinstein has been fired.
In October, while Schneiderman was still dating Silveratnam, the Harvey Weinstein scandal was unfolding. And Schneiderman was right at the forefront.
This is unacceptable.
44-year-old Karen Monahan says in September of 2016, she and her then-boyfriend, Minnesota Democratic Congressman Keith Ellison, got into a heated argument that scared her.
I was still in bed, and I was laying across the bed on my stomach. I was listening to my podcast, and he walked in. He said, I need you to take the trash out. And I kept, because I was on my stomach, I heard him and I just went like that and shook my head. And he looked at me, goes, hey, you hear me? And then he looked at me, he goes, bitch, get the out of my house. And he started trying to drag me off the bed. That's when I put my camera on to video him.
Did you call anybody after that?
I called a friend and I said, I'm at the lowest of the low.
Monahan says she saved the video on her computer. This past Saturday, Monahan's 25-year-old son, Austin, posted a message on Facebook saying that in the middle of 2017, he found the video, almost 2 minutes long, showing Keith Ellison dragging his mother off a bed and telling her to get out of his house.
I'm mortified, absolutely stunned that she would say this.
Ellison spoke to our CBS station WCCO in Minneapolis about the allegations.
Did you ever drag her off a bed by her feet?
No, absolutely not.
She has said and insists that there is a video of this. Is there a video?
There couldn't be. There couldn't be such a thing as that.
And why couldn't there be?
Because I never did that.
Why speak out now?
I followed my gut, the gut that I kept trying to push down.
Monahan says she never reported the incident to police and says being dragged off the bed was the only time Ellison got physical with her during their 3-year relationship.
For people who might look at this and go, she said it only happened one time, and he did apologize right after.
He didn't apologize for putting his hands on me. One is enough.
Monahan says she has the video. She says it's too traumatic for her, so she has chosen not to release it to anyone. She says, though, she should not have to release the video in order to be believed. Jeff, she believes her word should be enough. And again, Ellison vehemently denies those allegations.
All wrapped up in the simple idea that everybody counts and everybody matters.
For Keith Ellison, it's been a long, sometimes bruising journey, from his days as a civil rights activist to state lawmaker to history maker as the first Muslim in Congress to now the state's top consumer watchdog.
It's a moment where I'm just feeling really grateful to a lot of people. mostly the people of the state of Minnesota.
We talked to Ellison outside the office he'll soon occupy at the Capitol.
I'm concerned about clean air, clean water, affordable medications, looking after the public dollar.
For years, we've seen Lori Swanson, flanked by victims and survivors, launching lawsuits over things like consumer fraud and price fixing in health care. Ellison says he'll stick to that core mission of being the voice for the voiceless.
And so they need somebody who's going to be on their side to say, you know, you can't treat folks like that. You have to be honest. You have to be fair.
Well, Swanson took heat from the state workers union for opposing efforts by staff lawyers to unionize. Ellison says he won't block the union, and he'll seek civil service protections for all staff.
These folks have mortgages and they have families. They need to work on the people's business, not worry about getting their bills paid or whether they're going to get fired this afternoon.
An early backer of Bernie Sanders, Ellison has also served as deputy chair of the Democratic National Committee, a role he'll step away from now.
More than 100% on the Minnesota AG's office.
One thing's for certain, Keith Ellison will have a much shorter commute every day to this Capitol as opposed to the flights to D.C., just the drive down I-94.
No charges will be filed against former New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman after 4 women accused him of physical abuse. Schneiderman resigned in May. Nassau County District Attorney Madeline Singas was appointed to investigate the allegations. She says she personally interviewed each accuser, and investigators conducted an exhaustive review. But Singas says legal impediments, including statutes of limitation, prevented prosecution. Schneiderman released a statement apologizing for any pain he caused.